I'm always pushing everybody to innovate and to try to make new things rather than just regurgitate old things. Always have faith in your innovations and always experiment.
No, not the car.
All right,
start him up. Battle of the century. On your mark. Get set, go! Hey, that's the initiation. She's in the new works now.
So somehow I made it into a podium spot, and with the help of Shell Shock here, I was able to learn proper braking procedures on weird tracks like this. So yeah. Shout out to Newworks.
Wish us luck.
I'm part of Newworks now, and this is awesome. Very awesome. Yes. What? Oh! Sorry.
On your mark. Get set, go. No, way back. Don't grab it until it's go all the way out.
Come on, RedTang. Oh man, come on, RedTang.
No, see?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Welcome to Newport's, Clare.
Whoa! Thank you, RedTang. Darn! Thank you.
Nice.
I don't know who's who. I like the kitty one. Is that yours? I like the face of it. Start it up.
Here we go, reels.
On your mark. Get set, go.
There I am. I made it. Second time. Nice.
That was good. Hey, you didn't beat that one now.
Here I am with Jayr. We were in the finals, the semifinals together, and yeah, very, very cool.
It's a good race, it's a good race.
Very fast cars here, so I was very lucky to win against Jayr. So here I am again in this winner's circle here, and yeah, we're going to be competing for another potential spot in the open class race. And here I am, my lone first car made it, yeah, with the new tail damper that I designed. Very, very cool. Yeah, this tail damper, as you see, it's very unconventional. Nobody else has it. It's based on car catcher material, and I basically folded it. I've done so many designs on tail dampers that this one ended up working for me very well, and it makes this car land very flat.
Winner's race on your mark. Get set, go.
Ah! Too much juice. Right there, There's that like A-B bump going downhill. That's almost like a stairway to hell, but it's something slightly different than what we experienced in Chewy's backyard racing. So yeah, that's similar, but not quite. And then right there, pull the camera back up and camera back down over the tabletop. That was something that Eric put in place 4 years ago, and he was able to negotiate that using a muck funnel. But yeah, this is like challenging for a lot of cars. I know it's challenging back then, and it's challenging now. And yeah, I think everything else is pretty much straightforward. So yeah, if you can get over that little AD bump right there and down, then you got it set. But yeah, as you see, people are coursing out right on that turn, that sharp 90-degree angle turn. Yeah, there's just no mercy here on this track. And it's like, it's destroying cars left and right. So it's a very challenging track.
All right, start him up. On your mark. Set, go! Oh, gotta go fast. Yes, go back in. On your course side,
Here are your 3 finalists for open class for here at the US Grand Prix. Yes. Very, very cool. Look at the prizes. Beautiful, beautiful prizes. All given by Tamiya. Very cool. And these, I believe, are probably Hobbytown prizes here. Other things. Very cool. Okay, here I
I thought
am
it's called MR, not
with
M.
Grim Reaper versus
Oh, I thought
Doug's
MR
car.
did that.
This is a classic car that has been racing for a long time, he says. And then we have Jayr's car. Very cool. Oh, he's got the aspirated rollers going on there. Very cool. I don't even have aspirated rollers on mine. I have aspirated rollers on my RedTang.
All right, start him up. Come on, Clare there. Come on. You better win it home. On your mark. Get set, go! Open class final!
Got me.
You guys better capitalize on that, because that shit don't happen. One of you two better capitalize on that. Start him up. On your mark. Get set, go. That's how we do it.
Let's go, Jay! Come on! Let's go,
And it still works. Oh, third. did it. 3rd place. Yes, in open class with Grim Reaper. And funny thing is, like, this ended up beating my RedTang car, which is like incredible because RedTang car is very stable. But it turns out this one's stable too. It's just that I amped up the batteries a little bit too much in the final race. I should have played more conservatively. But oh well, that's how it goes. I know that it would have been a woulda, shoulda, coulda thing where if I lowered the battery power and stayed on the track, then I probably may not have been as fast as Doug and Jayr. So I just wanted to make sure that I came out blazing. So some of the other prizes that I got. So this was not the actual prize that I got, the Comical Hornet. I got one of the other RC car kits, but I traded this with the other person who already has this as a prize. So here I am here with the car that I actually wanted. This is pretty cool. And truth be told, if I had won first, I would have traded for this anyway, because this is like super cool. I love this. I have the other the Comical Avante, so Comical Hornet is like a nice car to go along with that. And I also got this, the Estoura, this clear orange special, and I was eyeballing that right outside. Like, I actually wanted this. This is pretty darn cool. Like, yeah, and I got it. And yeah, very, very cool. And yeah, this acrylic trophy that, yeah, the coveted trophy that everybody likes. Yes. And the aluminum setting board. Yes. I already have a bunch of these, but you can never have one too many of these. This is a very useful tool. Very much so. Yes. So I think those are all the prizes there. And here's Ganesha. Without Ganesha, I don't think I'd be doing half as good as I'd be doing. So I owe a lot to Ganesha. He is the remover of obstacles. Very, very cool. So everybody knows that I'm into yoga, so this is like a big yoga symbol. So he's the lucky elephant, basically. Very, very cool. Yes, against absolutely stellar competition, I prevailed and won bronze place in open class. Yes, very, very cool. And in a field of 35 open class cars, built by some of the most formidable racers in the United States. Yes, very cool. So yes, I won bronze place with my car here. This is Grim Reaper. And this is a car that I've kind of kept, not necessarily under wraps, but I've kept this kind of like to myself for the longest time. Those of you in the know that this car has been in an evolutionary state for about a year now. And I had lent this car to a fellow racer in a slightly different version, slightly different format. And let me tell you that this was very fast from the get-go. And the wonderfully cool thing about this car is it is not a suspension car. It is a VZ chassis. I'm going to show you something funny and cool. It's got a front pivot bumper. Yeah, AT bumper right here. Look at that. And look, AT bumper, flappy stick. Look at that. Rear pivoting system. Very cool. And my newest invention, the Rattlesnake tail damper. Yes, hear that sound. Yeah. And I'm just going to say that I won this thing my own way. And there was a good chance that I could have won it all if I had properly set the battery voltages on this. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be. In the final race, I coursed out, and so I had to re-race for 2nd and 3rd place because another competitor coursed out as well, and he was able to beat me in the final race for 2nd and 3rd. But oh well, that's the way the ball bounces. I got into lane 1 of the finals. That was my primary goal. The goal of any racer should be to try to secure that lane 1, the pole position. And that kind of tells you about how fast and stable your car is, getting into lane 1. So that's what I did with this car. I was also trying to get into another podium spot with this car here, RedTang. This, as you all know, is a very special car. It is super stable, it's solid. It's kind of cookie cutter like, but it's got like a lot of very unique features about it that make it very, very special. And the cool thing is it lands flat, just like that, just like this. A little bounce, but for a VZ chassis with no suspension, it's pretty darn cool. And a lot of that has to do with the Rattlesnake tail damper of my invention. Very cool. And so those of you in the know know that when I first introduced this car had like this crazy tail damper that was like V-shaped and was sticking out like about here, and it just cleared the measurement box. In some cases I would have to really like keep pressing it down so that it would like eventually stay like that, and then it would properly stay put in the measurement box. And then I tried doing different things like adjusting the tightness of the bend, so I would cut slits in the bend to just relax the bend a little bit. And then it got weaker, right? So the more cuts you have in body catcher material, the less strength it has. So then I reasoned to myself that, you know, the thing was starting to flop like this, and I was like, why don't people design tail dampers where they start off low on the chassis instead of high up there, right? Take a look at all of these tail dampers that all of these cookie cutter cars have. They all stick up. They don't start down. If you think about this logically, from a physics point of view, your weight should start down, low to the ground, keeping the car low to the ground. And then only when your car leaps up off of an incline, off of a jump, then that's when this thing should snap up. And then once it's up there, gravity causes it to pull down. So having this thing stick up in the first place, you're kind of like relying on the incline, the upswing, to swing this back down first. And I think that this is counterintuitive to what a lot of people design their tail dampers like. I know that there's a reason for this, and I know that a lot of people know that this is a tried and true method for them. But for me, logically, I would start the weight down so that the weight is as close to the actual car as possible. Here in all of these tail dampers, they're always above the plane of the top part of the car. Here, this is starting below the top plane of the car. So keep that in mind, right? That's my design decision. And I came up with it on my own, and yeah, I have this thing basically secured in place so that it starts down first, and then if it needs to, it'll come back up, but then it'll snap back down again. Now, the cool thing about this is, the reason why I call it the Rattlesnake tail damper is the fact that it kind of looks like a rattlesnake tail. So I used the part of the car catcher material to create this so that you would use the lined parts of the car catcher to be able to create this design pattern right here, as you see here. Yeah. Very, very cool. So yeah, it's one of these things where I thought to myself, you know, I have to create my own tail damper. I can't be copying other people's tail dampers. They're okay to me, but they don't make sense to me, and this makes sense to me. So that's why I had to do that. And this, I will have to say, is a culmination of 5 years worth of experience with VZ chassis, racing VZ chassis against MS suspension cars. And I always wanted to prove that a VZ chassis open class car can go toe-to-toe with any MS suspension car. And this is proof of it right here. In fact, getting to lane 1 of the finals was proof of that. And I think I did it. And the reason why this is stable and fast is because I kind of patterned it after my very first open class car, which is Neon Vicky. If many of you have read up on or watched videos on my past experiences with open class cars, you'll know that I actually started in open class and then I went back down to box stock. After I learned all the nuances of open class, then I started building box stock cars. So for me, open class made the most sense. And there are 2 reasons for this. Open class made the most sense to me because I could use my creativity to build things that kind of like tickle my fancy and make me kind of like, it stimulates the mind, right? So I could use my crafting skills, I can use my engineering skills, I can use my like super knowledge skills in a wide variety of disciplines and just apply them to the car. So like I was saying in previous videos, use the knowledge that you have, your expertise that you basically gathered from other disciplines. Pull those pieces of knowledge into Mini4WD drive and start creating your own things. Innovate, not copy, innovate. You can copy to learn about things, but once you've mastered the basics, then you should really innovate by using the special knowledge that you have in other disciplines and just bring all that into the Mini 4-wheel drive world. And when you do that, you're going to create some awesome, fantastic things. Not everything's going to be like awesome and fantastic, but at least you will have tried and experimented and see what works and what doesn't. So I'm always pushing everybody to innovate and to try to make new things rather than just regurgitate old things. I don't think regurgitating old things is going to advance our hobby. I do think that if you just bring forth all the knowledge that you have from the various disciplines that you know that you're good at, and then apply them to the Mini 4-wheel drive world, you're going to get something so much substantially more awesome for our community. I don't like to remain stagnant. That's why I'm always trying to innovate. And I think if I can convey anything in my message to you today, it's that always have faith in your innovations and always experiment. And you never know, because, like me, you could be on the podium for the America Cup. And so, yeah, it's really awesome. It's taken me a while, but I did it. And the funny thing is, I had this superior car right here. I had this car. This was supposed to be my podium car. But instead, this one, the one that I made, was. And that's so cool. But yeah, this had a good shot of being a second car on the podium. Unfortunately, I didn't dial it in exactly. This is super stable. Whenever it jumps, it almost always lands flat. But there were some course outs, so it's not perfect. It's as perfect as could be for an MS suspension car, but I didn't dial it in properly. And I think other people with more experience, they dialed in their MS suspension cars much better than I dialed in my MS suspension car. Yeah, so the first thing was I started with open class, and I kind of went backwards to box stock. So all of my experience that I had with open class, then I took it to box stock, and then I just applied that knowledge and made some super fast, awesome box stock cars. And the second reason why I started an open class is a practical reason. I teach yoga on Saturday mornings, and so I typically do not get to the Hobbytown races until later. So Hobbytown, their races start at 12 noon, and box stock starts shortly afterwards. And typically I don't get to Hobbytown until about 2 o'clock. And by that time, box stock is basically almost over. And so I would never get a chance to race in box stock unless I took the day off or something like that. Or maybe my yoga classes would be temporarily shifted to a different time slot, and then I would have time to go to Hobbytown in the morning and then race box stock. But in the beginning, it was all open class for me. I would go there and tune class would have started, so I would miss the first round of tune class. So I would have 2 out of 3 chances, or sometimes 3 or 4 out of 5 chances to get into the finals, depending if it was a 3-lane or a 5-lane for the finals. And so, yeah, I was always at a disadvantage in tune class. So I had to make the most of my tune class entries because I didn't get the full 3 chances or 5 chances depending on the number of finalist spots. So with that lowered amount of opportunities, you have to make the most of your opportunities. And yeah, I think I did, because if you take a look at some of the records I've had with my tune class cars in the past, they did fairly well, all things considered. The fact that I didn't start all 3 rounds or all 5 rounds to get to the finals and be on the podium, that's super good. I think that's pretty cool. So because I had so much experience racing in open class, that was my forte. And I just wanted to innovate because I didn't know about a lot of these technologies that are on the cookie cutter cars. I basically had no idea why people were doing certain things that they did. And it wasn't until I experimented with them and people started explaining things to me that I then realized that, hey, I should be doing things a certain way to get maximum performance out of my cars. But then there was always that thing in the back of my mind that said, what if I could do it better? Or what if I could do it just as well, but cheaper? And so as a child, I grew up in a family that wasn't like very wealthy. We didn't have a lot of money. So other kids in the neighborhood had lots of toys. We had some toys, but not a lot. We had to make up our own toys. I kid you not. We had lots of paper, and I would cut out things in the paper and make my own toys. And with this crafting, I'll call it crafting skill, because it's kind of like a rudimentary crafting skill, being able to design things that other people would have using just paper. And then you color everything and make everything look like the thing that you really desire, but your family couldn't afford. So I was playing with a lot of paper dolls and paper cars and paper trains and things like that. And some of these things, if you looked at them, well, if I looked at them now, I think that some of them were very like simplistic. But the fact of the matter is, like, I used my creativity, my ingenuity to design certain things in paper that would simulate those things that I desired, like the trains and the cars and the dolls. Fast forward to now, I'm doing the same thing, but this time with car catcher material, with polycarbonate bodies, with carbon plates. It's just crafting. And if I didn't do all of that, if my family wasn't poor when I was younger, I don't think I'd be able to design all the crazy things that I design. They're all from my imagination. Like, I have to get these ideas out into the world. So when I come up with a rattlesnake tail damper, it's in my mind. I started with this thing called the dragon tail damper, and that was like underneath a lot of my cars, and that was considered very innovative. Whether it worked or not is a different story. It seems like it depended on the situation where it worked, but if you watch videos of old where you'll see that I designed this thing called the dragon tail, it was a variable brake, and it worked off of inclines, and it was like pretty darn cool. Like, some people will attest to the value of it, others will probably scoff at it, but yeah, it was just my take on how a braking system should be. And then I came up with other innovations. I came up with the rear tail flexiplate, and the flexiplate, like, a lot of people, actually not a lot of people, but some people like criticized it and said that it's never going to work, and yet I raced it and it worked. And there's a reason why the things that I design work, and some don't work, but there's a reason why things that I design work, and it's because I think about these things a lot. When a thought goes into my mind, it doesn't just like go in one ear, out the other, and that's it, and then I just make it and whatever. When a thought goes into my mind, I mull over it again and again and again. And I don't let up. By that I mean I don't give up on trying to make my thoughts into reality. So when I see a piece of paper in front of me, I see possibilities. Just like when I see a car catcher material in front of me, I see possibilities. If you take a blank piece of paper and you look at it, and you see nothing right there but a blank piece of paper, maybe you aren't into innovating things. That's okay. Some people don't want to innovate anything, and they want to just copy other people, and that's fine. But if you look at a piece of paper and you see possibilities, then you know that you're going to be good at creativity, creating new things for Mini 4-wheel drive and non-Mini 4-wheel drive things. So yeah, that's how I designed all of my tail dampers. I would just draw them out on paper first, and then attach them to the car and see if the concept seemed right. And then I would take the actual car catcher material and make that same shape, and yeah, that's how I got this. And a lot of you know that on Neon Vicky, I didn't use like carbon plates for my body dampers. I used car catcher material, and that made the car really light. So if you take a look at Neon Vicky's original specs, Neon Vicky VZ open class car was 105 grams. Who has 105 gram open class cars? Who besides me? I would say nobody. Because most people make open class cars, the weight of their open class cars is anywhere from 115 grams to about 125 grams. Some even more, some even higher than that. But here I go. I'm someone that comes right out of the blue with no experience making open class cars, and I design these open class cars that weigh 105 grams. And they run toe-to-toe against podium cars that are MS suspension cars. And I'm just telling you that you can do this too, because if you have an idea and you just take it to the extreme level, you can do this too. So here's another thing that I did besides open class. Hobbytown had this thing called drag racing. And drag racing was you had to make the fastest car using a tune class motor and whatever parts were available in like different box stock kits. And I think the requirement was you could not use any metal parts like aluminum rollers. You had to use all plastic parts. So if you can imagine like a pro stock car with a tune class motor and you were racing on a straight line, who was the fastest? Well, for at least 2 months, maybe 3 months, I was the queen of drag racing. And so what I learned there was to make my cars as light as possible with maximum torque, big wheels, and yeah, so I was the queen of the drag racing. And that was pretty cool. So I applied that knowledge to Neon Vicky, and I was able to race my VZ open class cars with a sprint dash motor, and that car, Neon Vicky, would compare favorably to MS suspension cars. How much does this weigh, you might wonder? I took all of that knowledge from 5 years ago with Neon Vicky. Over time, it all culminated into this. This one weighs 107 grams. Think about that for a moment. 107 grams. It's got carbon body damper. It's got a carbon front. It's got a carbon rear. It doesn't have suspension, but it's got suspension characteristics. It's got these sponge low-frix half-and-half tires and sponge and super hard rear. So it's got a little bit of a suspension. The sponge is like shock absorption, like minor shock absorption. But the fact that it's got the tail damper helps immensely. The fact that it's got the body damper helps immensely, especially with my flappy stick that I've covered in another video. Yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, innovate. Always innovate. You have to innovate. And then, who knows, you might win. You know? So cool, so cool. So yeah, just like usual, I had to teach 2 classes in the morning, 2 yoga classes in the morning, and so I didn't get to Hobbytown until about, 1:30, 1:45, something like that. So I was driving at high speed to try to get there so I could enter stock class. Stock class, I entered Ninja and Red Hot, and yeah, I would say that this had a good chance. This could have had a good chance too, but there were better stock class cars than mine. So, as you know, Ninja won Chewy Racing's Backyard Racing, won gold, and yeah, this one, Red Hot, won Tune Class Gold in the Portal Tuners races, and also bronze in B-Max in the Portal Tuners races. The B-Max races were very competitive, and they garnered a lot of attention, and yeah, it was like cutthroat to try to get to the podium spot because there's so much good competition there. And then when open class came, then there were so many awesome, awesome cars. And the first thing that you have to realize is if you enter open class, you're basically racing against the best of the best. These are people who design cars, like some of them design cars for a living. Some of them want that trophy really bad. And you have to be confident with your skills in open class. You have to, just like when I compete in yoga, you have to think to yourself, I can do this too. Because if you don't think that, if you have one doubt in your mind, one smidgen of doubt, you're not going to do well. The only way you can do well is if you have faith in yourself. Faith in yourself, faith in your abilities, faith that things are going to go your way. You have to be so confident in what you're producing in open class that it kind of all goes into your car. Every little tuning aspect of an open class car matters. Remember, these are 132 scale cars, so any change that you make, however minute, is going to affect the car in such a big way. If you were to expand the size of this car 32 times so that it's a full-size car, you know that any little change you make here ends up being like a big change 32 times the size. So you have to put an honest effort into every little detail in an open class car. In stock class, you have to put in a lot of work too, but it's not as detailed as open class. It's not. In box stock, you can get away with certain things, like luck is a major factor in box stock. Still, if you are very careful with your building process and you know what you're doing, you can build a better box stock car than other competitors. But in general, open class, you have to know what you're doing. And so you have to have faith in yourself, faith in your abilities, faith that things will just go your way. So the only way to get better at something is through consistent practice. And I'm going to tell you that racing in open class races, if you race in a lot of them, don't be afraid of racing in open class. Even if you're using a tuned class car to race in open class, please do so. Please upgrade your tuned class car to something stronger than a tuned class motor and race it in open class so you get the feel for what open class is all about. If you don't do that, you might feel intimidated by everything because the cars are going so fast. So a lot of racers know that the difference between an open class car and a tuned class car might just be like a few kilometers per hour, but the ones who are very experienced building open class cars can make their cars mega fast. And so I had experience building VZ open class cars where my cars would be anywhere from 47, 48 kilometers per hour. That's fast. When you have a car that fast and it's stable and stays on the track, you're pretty good. And so all of that knowledge that you've garnered from all of your other classes, box stock, tune class, stock class, that all goes into your knowledge of open class. So the track that we raced on was a very difficult track. It had an AB digital section in there, just like Chewy Racing's track. Chewy Racing's track actually had a double AB. I think it was ABBA or something like that. And this one had an AB and then down. So instead of a stairway to hell, it was kind of like you're going off of a cliff to hell. So we'll call it a ski slope to hell. That's what it was, a ski slope to hell. And then the second obstacle was there's a little camelback on the smaller section where like it's the smaller 3-lane section. So this 5-lane track that our race master designed splits off into 2 separate sections of 3-lane tracks. And Eric, who designs all of our Hobbytown tracks, he's the race master at Hobbytown. His tracks are amongst the most unique in the United States, probably the world. Typically, when people talk about racing on Mini 4-wheel drive, they talk about 3-lane or 5-lane tracks. Very rarely do we ever see or hear of anybody talking about a combination of 3 and 5-lane tracks. And I think that Eric is kind of like the master of creating these kinds of multiple track layouts, and multiple meaning combining 3 and 5-lane tracks together. I don't think anyone does it better than Eric does, to be quite honest. His tracks are very innovative. They have a lot of obstacles and challenges, and I think they would probably destroy a lot of the so-called fancy racers out there. Their cars, destroy their cars. Because there are a lot of like obstacles that really can crush a car if you're not careful. If you've got rollers that are not quite set right on your car, your damper weights aren't set right, and you go through those digital curves of of one of Eric's tracks, your car can explode. You go too fast and you jump off of a cliff, like in the ski slope cliff in an Eric track, your car will be destroyed. So yeah, I think Eric's tracks are amongst the more challenging I've seen. So yeah, very, very cool. There are some really cool tracks out there that are just 3-lane or 5-lane, but to combine both of them together like that and to have all those different obstacles, that's very unique. So I think Eric has the stronghold over making very innovative tracks that combine 3- and 5-lane tracks together. When I arrived at Hobbytown, it was like well into box stock, so I couldn't enter box stock. And it's one of those things where, since this is the US Grand Prix, you can only register 2 cars maximum. And that's to keep the race flowing, because there are racers out there who bring in like a lot of cars and then they try to race all of them to have extra chances. And so limiting yourself to 2 cars is a challenge. But for me, here's the funny thing. For the longest time, I raced 1 car. Just 1 car in every category. And then I started racing 2 cars and then more. But really, for me, it was just about racing 1 car. And it was about picking the right car. And if you have that discipline to be able to pick the right car, then you should have enough faith in that 1 car to make it through the entire race. So if you're racing like X number of cars, do you really have faith in any one of them? And I thought about this like on a meta level. It's like, yeah, I could be racing a lot of cars too, but I think then to me it's just like these cars are just a throwaway commodity. I'm not putting my faith in any one car. So putting your faith in what you're building is a very important concept, I think. And I think that concept cannot be stressed enough. You have to have faith in what you're doing, always. Also, just like in yoga competition, I can't say this enough. Yoga competition, you are only as good as the amount of work you put into something. So for me, someone who started off not being the most flexible or strong or balanced person in the world, and for me to be number 3 in the United States, and then number 6 in the world, is incredible. But I put in the work. I put in the work. And I have to say that if you put in the work in whatever you do, you're going to be like way up there too, in whatever it is that you want to be great at. Now, it might be that, oh, well, you won't be number 3 in the US and you won't be number 6 in the world or whatever. But if you don't put in the work, how do you know if you're going to be that person? So the last thing I'm going to leave you with, the most important point that I tell all of my yoga students and also people whom I coach in yoga. So I've coached a number of top 10 people in yoga. I always tell them, don't be afraid to be great. Don't be afraid to be great. In other words, don't ever have doubt in your abilities. Have faith in your abilities. Have faith in what you do. Have faith in what you're building. Have faith in what you're innovating. And you will see the fruits of those labors. You will see the fruits of those labors. And you'll be a better racer. Everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.